we're forecasting improvement for performance for 2016 over 2015. We're looking for a industry profit globally this year of some $39.4 billion, which would be a record level. Some of the factors, of course, the lower fuel price is helping, but overall the industry is in a more resilient condition than it was some time ago, and it's in a better structure. Airlines are operating more efficiently, the load factors are up, they're using more efficient equipment, and so generally speaking, despite an uncertain economic background, the airlines are producing some good results. There's about $3.8 billion of airline money stuck in Venezuela, unable to be repatriated and remitted back to airlines' home countries. That number has remained pretty much the same for the last certainly 12 months because airlines have effectively stopped selling in the country in local currency. It's a huge problem for airlines. We saw Lufthansa decide only this last week to pull out of Venezuela. Air Canada decided that some time ago. Every airline operating there has reduced its capacity significantly and its frequency. And this can't be doing the country any good because what it needs is connectivity to trade with the rest of the world. And we call on the government to release the funds and let airlines get their operating costs back. Overall, it's a very safe time for the industry. Last year's safety performance was beat the 5-year average, and although of course we had a couple of terrible tragedies last year, which were not accidents; they were caused deliberately by human action. What we're doing at IATA is we're tightening up our IATA operational safety audit, which has become a global benchmark in safety management for some 400 of the world's top airlines. That's now becoming a system of continual assessment and continual safety management rather than just a snapshot every couple of years. And we're encouraging governments all around the world to adopt it as part of their regulatory regime. Of course, governments in the short term need to make sure that they've got enough resources to keep the lines moving. In the medium term, though, what we need to do is prevent these lines from happening in the first place. And we have a program we call Smarter Security, which aims to do that by working with airports, and we're working with the Airport Council International to implement new technologies to move to a more risk-based system of security screening so that we can actually get rid of these lines altogether just by doing things a bit smarter. We need to improve facilitation at airports. We need to go for more automated systems. We need to go for make sure that everybody can have his boarding card on his mobile phone or print it out at home so he doesn't have to queue up at a check-in desk. Home printed bag tags, we now have a standard for those and we're trying to get those adopted so that people won't be queuing up to drop their bags off. The bag will already be tagged before they even get to the airport. If we can reduce the amount of congestion, the amount of queuing, we will also reduce the vulnerability of airport crowds to terrorist outrages like we saw in Brussels. The industry wants a global market-based measure to help manage its carbon emissions. It wants that because really that's its license to grow. This industry needs to grow, wants to grow, but we have to manage our carbon emissions, which is why we have set the target of carbon neutral growth from 2020. To deliver that, we need governments to deliver at ICAO at its triennial assembly in September, October this year. How confident am I? Well, I am hopeful. I'm also reasonably confident, but there's a lot of work that's got to be done to bring governments into alignment before we can say with 100% confidence that we're going to get there. The airline industry makes today's modern life possible. We enable so much in the way of economic development and social development. It's impossible really to think of an industry in any country that isn't affected by aviation, doesn't depend on aviation. But it's more than that. It's also the lifeblood of social development and interaction. I mean, not just for people who want to go on holiday, although that's really important, but for families to stay connected, for businesses to stay connected, for people want to explore the world, and it's aviation that makes that possible. So in all these ways, aviation is a huge force for good.